Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Rohit. Rohit, keep your video turned on.
Ma'am, you
Ma'am, you
want
want
surface and bulk phenomenon, right? A little more about them.
Yes. Let's just wait for another so that everyone joins, and mostly I think everyone has joined, and then we are going to continue. Rayan, Akshara, Harshit, Yukta, good evening, everyone. Keep your videos turned on.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Please keep your video turned on. Harshit, Akshara, Rayan, please keep your video turned on.
Ma'am, 1 minute.
I think I got disconnected from the other device. Now I'm. Rayan, are you there? So who is going to tell me what what do you mean? What is the main difference between evaporation and boiling?
Ma'am, evaporation is a surface phenomenon and condensation is a bulk phenomenon.
Spoke about the wrong processes.
Ma'am, and evaporation has a cooling effect, but boiling point does not have any such effect of any effect.
These are the two differences which I discussed in the last class, that evaporation is a surface phenomenon, and whereas the boiling is a bulk phenomenon. Then evaporation is causes a cooling effect, whereas the boiling doesn't causes any cooling effect, right?
Ma'am,
Rayan,
that evaporation occurs at any temperature and boiling occurs above boiling point.
very good. That evaporation occurs at any temperature below the boiling point, whereas the boiling occurs specifically at boiling point. I hope these three differences were clear to everyone. Okay. So now we are going to continue with the topic. Okay, so yes, I was in the last, I had started the discussion that the evaporation occurs only at the surface of any liquid. Today the date is 24th. So evaporation occurs only at the surface. The molecules which are at the surface, they tend to start to evaporate below the boiling point. Whereas boiling occurs as a bulk. Why? Because the entire liquid gets heated uniformly and the state change from liquid to gas takes place. Here, everyone? Okay, children. Now we have various factors. I think I gave the definition of evaporation right. So now we have factors affecting evaporation. And it is very interesting to know. Why it is interesting to know? Because you can relate them to your everyday life. So there are 5 factors, out of which 4 are the most important factors. 5th one is also important, but not as important as the other 4. The first one is the wind speed. I will explain all 4 to you, in fact, all 5 to you. Second one is the temperature. Then the third one is the surface area. Fourth one is the humidity. And lastly, it is the nature of the liquid. This we will discuss at the last. The first four are the most important, and most of the questions turn up amongst these four factors. Children, I'll give you a very simple and easy example which you can relate with your everyday life, and you only have to tell me the answer so that I can write what you answer. Fine. Pranav, you have to tell. See, Pranav, if we have to dry the clothes, fine, we have two options here. One option is if we keep the cloth under the fan, or if we keep the cloth without the fan in a normal room. Tell me in which case the cloth will dry faster, under the fan or without the fan.
Ma'am, under the fan.
Rohit, I asked the question from Pranav, beta. You have questions. Yes, Pranav, tell me. Will the clothes dry faster under the fan or without the fan? Unmute yourself and answer. Pranav, your video is also turned off now and you are not even speaking. Akshara, what do you think?
Ma'am, under the fan.
Yes, because if we consider the two situations where we have fan and where we don't have fan, in case of fan, there is the wind speed. What is wind? The moving air. So wind speed is there. So the clothes will dry faster when we have wind with us. So how is wind speed related to the evaporation? So it is directly related to the evaporation. When wind speed increases, the rate of evaporation increases, means the evaporation will be more. The rate of evaporation will be more. Means they are directly related, means they are directly proportional. Wind speed, if wind speed will be more, then rate of evaporation will be more. If wind speed will be less, the rate of evaporation will be less. Okay. Yukta, now I have a question from you. If I have to dry the cloth and there are two conditions now, there is sun and the sun is not there. In which case do you think the clothes will dry faster?
Ma'am, when sun is there.
When the sun is there. When the sun is there means what will be the temperature, high or low?
Ma'am, of course, it will be high with through which the cloth will get dry.
Very good. So when the temperature is more, when temperature is more, the rate of evaporation is more. The rate of evaporation is more. That means, I'm sorry, that means again, the wind speed is related to, the temperature is related to, is directly proportional to the evaporation. And here I missed out the word that when wind speed is more than the rate of evaporation. Okay, children, let's come to the next factor. Now we'd like to ask from Jitendra. Jitendra, I'll give you a very simple, easy example. You have to tell me the answer at then. Jitendra, you have to drink milk either from the glass or you can just pour in the milk in a saucer and then you can drink. In which case you will find it easier to drink the hot milk
In glass.
or in the saucer. Do you know what is saucer? Means the bowl. You can consider it to be the bowl. Either you have to drink the milk, the hot milk from the bowl or from the glass, which would be easier for you.
Ma'am, glass.
Okay, Sampath, what do you think? Will it be easier to drink the hot milk from the or from the bowl?
Ma'am, from the bowl it will be easier.
It will be easier, Jitendra, from the bowl. See, this is the bowl and this is the glass. Which has the more surface area? We don't do this like when we have to drink tea or when we have to drink coffee or when we have to drink milk. We are in a hurry. We take a container which has an larger surface area. We pour that particular hot substance into it. Then we drink it because it gets cooler in that case, easier compared to if the surface area is lesser. Jitendra, clear, dear?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, when surface area is more, I'll give you another example for this. Then again, the rate of evaporation will be more. Rate of evaporation will be more. Means surface area is directly proportional to evaporation. Okay, Ryan, I'll ask you a question related to surface area only. You have to apply
Okay.
your brain and tell me now. Already I have spoken how they're related. Again, the same example I'm considering of the clothes. We take one single cloth. Either we keep
Yeah.
that, we just gather that cloth and keep it aside, or we spread that cloth for drying. Without
Yes.
sun, without fan, and nothing is there, then in which case, if the cloth is kept like
When
together,
it's spread apart, when it's spread completely.
set apart. Why? Because in that case, the surface area increases. When our surface area is more, the evaporation is more, the clothes get dried faster. Clear to everyone?
Yes.
Harshit,
Yeah, ma'am.
where do you stay?
Ma'am, in Langar House, Hyderabad.
So, you must be very much aware about humidity, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What is
Ma'am, can you repeat?
humidity? Do you know?
Ma'am, it's the amount of moisture present in the air.
Very nice. So it is the amount of moisture or water vapors, anyway we can say, right? Moisture or water vapors present in air. Vapors present in air. You know that in the south, generally humidity is too much in the coastal areas in the air. So children, now what does humidity means? Already the presence of water vapors is there. And what are we doing in case of evaporation? We are converting the liquid into the gaseous state. Means already the water is getting converted into the water vapors only. And already there are water vapors in the air. We are trying to add more water vapors in the air. So will it be possible for more water vapors to be added when they're already present in the air? It will be a little difficult. So this factor is inversely proportional. Humidity increases. If humidity increases, then rate of evaporation decreases. Rate of evaporation decreases and decreases. And we may also say that the humidity is inversely proportional. Now, considering this, Rohit, you have to tell me
Yes, ma'am.
one of the questions I'm going to ask. So generally what we say is in the coastal areas, it is the rate of evaporation is the rate of evaporation is less compared to in the plains. Can you tell me the reason?
Ma'am, because ma'am, because it's generally hotter near the coastal areas and it's
Stated from the factors I have told. More than hotness, something else is there in the coastal areas.
ma'am, population.
Harshit, you tell me in the coastal areas what is there?
Ma'am, in the coastal areas, the humidity is more because of that evaporation, the rate of evaporation decreases.
Very good. So in case of coastal areas, the amount of humidity is so much, and because of that, the rate of evaporation decreases. I hope these four factors are clear to everyone. Yes? Pranav,
Yes.
are you in the class or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why don't you answer when I ask the question? You have turned off your video also. Am I asking such a difficult question? And even if you don't know, I'm going to help you, but not turning on your video, not replying. What is this? Okay, children. Next, we have nature of the liquid. I'll give you a very simple example from our everyday life. Then I will write whatever is needed. I'm sorry. Children, I think I spoke about the nail paint remover in the previous class. That if the nail paint remover falls on our hand, it takes a few seconds to get evaporated, right? But if it all water falls on our hand, will it get evaporated as quickly as the acetone will happen?
No.
So nature of the liquid means it depends. Did I mention the words volatile and non-volatile yesterday? I don't think so. In the last class, okay. First, I'll tell those terms and then we will come to the nature of the liquid. Fine, children. These two terms, because generally you will find to be used. So we should all know about these terms before we use them. Okay, children. So there are certain liquids which are volatile in nature, and there are certain liquids which are non-volatile in nature. So what are volatile liquids? Volatile liquids are those liquids which have very, very low boiling point. Volatile liquids or the substances are the substances which has very low boiling point because of very weak force of attraction. Weak forces of attraction. And non-volatile liquids are exactly the opposite of it. These are the liquids or the substances, the liquids which have strong forces of attraction and high boiling point are known as non-volatile liquids. The example of volatile liquids is the acetone, the nail paint remover, which we talk about, the petrol. You must have heard that the petrol also gets evaporated by itself. Have you ever heard? The petrol escapes out if it is kept in open. So petrol, chloroform you must have heard, which the thieves used to kidnap people. That's chloroform. Okay. Sorry. I'll tell you the formula also of chloroform, though you don't need that for now. Acetone also has a formula. Petrol is a mixture, so petrol doesn't. Then example of the non-volatile liquids are glycol, then glycerine, etc. Enough. So the liquids which get evaporated very, very, very quickly, these are known as volatile liquids, and the ones which take a longer time to get evaporated, these are non-volatile liquids. The example for the most common example in our everyday life for the volatile liquid is the acetone or the nail paint remover, which we are already aware that if it falls on our hand within few seconds, it get evaporated. Whereas not volatile liquids are those which have a little higher boiling point, they do not evaporate as it is, right? So now we will talk about the nature of the liquid. So it depends on the nature of the liquid, the rate of evaporation will occur. So volatile liquids, liquids will have higher rate of evaporation than non-volatile liquids. Yes, children. Tell me if you have any doubt in any of these 5 factors, then we will take some common examples. Of cooling effect. Any doubts, anyone? Or shall I move further? Okay, children. Now we have some common examples from our everyday life in which we observe cooling effect due to evaporation. But here I am going to ask the questions from you people only. You will be relating the factors which we have studied, you will relate the factors in which factor will be applicable in which of the examples. First question. Why do we sprinkle water on the roof or open ground in summer? Rayan, can you try this answer? Think of it.
One second. Yeah. One second. Mm,
Let's do one thing. I'll help you all with the first question so that you know how to relate what things. Then from the next question, you all can try. Fine.
okay.
What happens during the summer seasons? The ground becomes hot, right? In
Yes.
summer, the ground becomes hot. And you must have observed that people do throw the water. So what happens when we throw water, when we sprinkle water? It
Ma'am,
takes,
the ground becomes cooler a little.
sorry,
Ma'am, the ground will become a little cold so that our hands or feet don't burn.
yes, but how when we sprinkle water?
Ma'am, the ground loses its heat energy.
Sorry, Sampath.
Ma'am, the heat from the ground will lose and transfer to water.
Absorbed by water.
Ma'am, then water will turn into vapors.
Now you all can relate, right? Heat from the
Yeah.
ground will be absorbed by water, and water will get evaporated. Water will evaporate, leading to cooling effect. And that is why people do so, because they need the cooling effect, right? First question clear? Any doubts, anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Nope.
chal. Now let us come to the second question. Let's see if any of you can answer. I leave it on you. If anyone knows the answer, you can try. Pouring of acetone on palm. Who can explain this, if anyone can?
Ma'am, what is acetone?
Nail paint remover.
Okay, okay.
Can you try? Or anyone else, if anyone can try? The same thing happens in the
It takes the heat from the palm.
correct. That's the absolute correct answer. That what happens actually is that the heat from our palm is taken by acetone. It evaporates, and then when evaporation occurs, it leads to cooling. So heat from a palm is taken by acetone, which evaporates, leading to cooling effect. Which evaporates, leading to cooling effect. Clear, children? Any doubts still here? Now the next child can try. Any of you can try. Third question. Yukta, I would like to ask from you. Why do we wear cotton clothes in summers? It's very simple, if you know.
Normally you wear cotton clothes because cotton clothes, like what when it's too hot, they wouldn't absorb the heat from the atmosphere, and they keep ourselves cool. And the sweat, whichever is generated, is absorbed by the cotton clothes, keeping us cool.
Making us feel cool, right?
Yeah.
Very good. That's absolutely correct, children. So what happens in the case of cotton clothes? The reason is that during summers we perspire so much. During summers, perspire means sweating. Fine, you should know this word. Why? Because sometimes the word perspire only comes in the exam and then you tend to get confused. We perspire, or we may also say sweat a lot So cotton is a very good absorber. Cotton is a good absorber. It absorbs heat from our body. It absorbs heat from our body, making us feel cool. Making us feel cool as the sweat evaporates. You have to mention the word evaporate and cooling both while writing the answer. Because if you're not mentioning the word evaporate, then there is something you are not writing complete. Okay, children? Now, next question will be answered by Sampath. You can try the question again. It's very easy, not very difficult question. Why? Wait. Why ice is rubbed on a burnt part of the skin?
Ma'am, ma'am, when we rub ice on burnt part of the skin, the heat energy of our skin in that particular place will transfer it to ice, and ice evaporates, producing a cooling effect on it, so that we don't feel much pain.
Very good. Mostly it's correct. So basically, what happens during the burning when any skin part, when skin is burnt, then the temperature increases of that particular part. Temperature increases. Upper arrow means increases, lower arrow means decreases. I hope you can understand that. Temperature increases, and on rubbing ice, can you mute yourself? On rubbing ice, the excess heat from the skin Ryan, you can mute yourself, please. Ryan. Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. The skin, the excess heat is taken from the skin in the form of latent heat of fusion, leading to the decrease in temperature of the skin, leading to decrease in temperature of the skin, and we feel less pain. I hope this is clear. Then we have some more questions related to evaporation or some other processes which we have studied. Let us answer a few of them. Next question. Why do we see water droplets on the outer surface of a glass tumbler containing ice cold water? Can anyone try this question?
Ma'am, it is due to the water vapor present in the surroundings. When it is touching the glass containing ice cold water, it cools down and forms the water droplets.
Very good. What is this process known as?
Uh,
Conversion of Water vapor is
Condensation.
water basically, na? So what do we
Condensation.
this as?
Condensation.
Very good. So what happens is water vapors present in air, vapors present in air come in contact with ice and convert into water droplets, convert into water droplets due to the process of condensation. I hope this is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have another question which is very interesting. The question is why surgeons often apply a spray, some ether on skin before performing minor surgery. Can anyone try this question? Ether is also a volatile substance if anyone wants to try. Otherwise, I will help you all.
Ma'am, what is ether?
Ether is a chemical which is also a very volatile liquid. Can anyone try or shall I tell the answer?
Ma'am, is it due to that ether is a volatile substance and it evaporates faster, producing cooler effect and making the skin numb?
Very good. That's absolutely correct. Excellent answer. You have already read it somewhere?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So what actually happens is, first I'll explain, then I can write for you, that whenever there has to be some minor surgery to be happening, or even if we are injected with the injection, in that case also there is something which the doctor rubs on your hand or wherever the injection has to be injected, right? So why does that happen? The doctor rubs ether on your surface. That's a very volatile liquid. It evaporates very quickly, leading to coolness. When the coolness occurs for in a very short span of time, then our skin becomes numb for a few seconds. As soon as our skin becomes numb, the pain of the injection is not felt as much as if at all it is not rubbed. Clear, children? The same thing
Yes,
what
ma'am.
someone said. So I will just write it for you. So ether being a volatile liquid evaporates very quickly, leading to cooling effect, which makes our skin numb. And we feel less pain during a minor injury, minor surgery, I will write.
Ma'am, dentists also use this chemical, right? When they're removing any teeth or something.
Everyone, all the doctors.
Mhm.
Similarly, not just ether, there are certain other chemicals which are used by the doctors for the same reason to create numbness, but they use whatever chemicals they are using. They are generally volatile in nature and they will evaporate, leading to coolness, be it dentist, be it any other doctor. Whenever there is certain injury also, there is a chemical ethyl chloride which is applied on the skin, but the reason is the same. You should know the reason behind the chemicals which are mentioned, because the concept remains the same for all of them. So, like if at all somebody asks you why the players are sprayed the ethyl chloride before treating them their injuries, the reason is the same, that on applying the ethyl alcohol, it is a volatile liquid. It will get evaporated very quickly. As soon as it will evaporate, it will lead to the cooling effect. When it leads to the cooling effect, we feel numbness and the pain reduces. Clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
So, this finishes your chapter, Matter in Our Surroundings. If you have any doubts, you may ask. Otherwise, I'll ask you one question, and then we will wrap up our class. In the next class, we will continue with the questions of this class. Do people have any doubt? Anyone? Okay. I will ask a question now then. Give me answer for sponge, though compressible, is a solid. How can you say that sponge is a solid even though it is compressible in nature? Can anyone try?
Can I?
Yes, please tell.
Ma'am, a sponge is solid in nature because it compresses because we apply a force on it, or else it remains as its original shape.
Also, what is there inside the sponge?
Ma'am, can I?
There are minute spores in the sponge.
Sponge has minute holes in it, which has air trapped in it. When we apply pressure, only then it changes its shape. As soon as the pressure is released, it acquires its original shape. Next question for you is, can anyone tell me why we consider salt as a solid? Sampath?
Ma'am, we consider salt as solid because in generally speaking, it is crystal in nature and is made when we enlarge it, we can find a definite shape of it.
Definite shape is like one of the points, and it is crystalline because it has definite shape. Tell me any other point also for it being called a solid. You wait, I'll ask from someone else. Jitendra, can you tell me any other point why we can call a salt as solid? One is definite shape. What could be other? You don't know? Yukta, can you try? Why we call anything a solid? One, because it has definite shape. What could be the other reason for anything being called a solid?
My answer.
And it has a fixed volume and the intermolecular space is less. Like it's negligible.
Akshara,
Yes, ma'am.
to add on a point?
Ma'am, because the molecules are tightly packed with each other.
Well, so you have to answer like this only. You have to tell the properties in case you are being asked whatever is the substance, why it is called a solid, liquid, or gas. Fine. Now we are going to continue in the next class with the NCERT question answers. And I'll see you all in the next class. Have a great day ahead. Bye, everyone.
Ma'am, when will we
Thanks,
get
ma'am.
when will we be getting the science marks for the test?
You can ask from Manisha, ma'am, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ask from her because I have checked it earlier only. So she will help you answer it. Okay, bye.